You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by the National Association of Convenience Stores.
Well, welcome. My name's Jeff Leonard. I'm with the National Association of Convenience Stores, or otherwise known as NACS. And today I'm joined by my co-host,
Donovan Woods here from NACS, as well as also Fuels Institute.
And Donovan, normally we'd have you on and we'd be talking about fuels.
Yes.
Fuels for your car. Today we're going to be talking about fuels as it relates to your body and how you might treat your body a little bit differently, where convenience stores fit in and all that. And today our guest is Amaris Bradley. She is Senior Manager of Partnerships for the Partnership for Healthy America. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I got to say, my job at NACS for about the last 2 or 3 years has been focused on this initiative we call Refresh. Refresh is about how do we sell more fresh items in stores? How do we refreshen our image? And how are we more a part of the conversation as convenience stores sell healthier food? And I have to say, working with the Partnership for Healthy America, it's been one of the longest relationships I've had with this new role in nutrition, and it's one of my favorites. So thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about what the Partnership for Healthy America does, and where do you fit in with the convenience store industry?
Sure. So what we do at the Partnership for Healthier America is broker commitments with the private sector. Our whole mission as an organization is to help make the healthy choice the easy choice for busy parents and families. And we do that by working with a number of different industries to help ultimately end the childhood obesity crisis within a generation. Convenience stores initially picked our interest for a number of reasons. One, nearly half of Americans walk into a convenience store on any given day, and so that's huge. But also, it's been really exciting for us to see this marked shift that's been taking place in the industry with not only more consumers. I think it was a NACS survey that found that over half of consumers would visit convenience stores more often if they knew healthier foods were available. But also, there are a lot of convenience stores that are rising to meet that demand, which is great. More and more convenience stores are selling healthier items, selling fresh produce, and that's really exciting to us. And we want to work with the industry to help more and more convenience stores do exactly that.
And what I really love, you guys are really, really good at branding and staying on your brand. And you hear the phrase, making the healthy choice the easy choice. What I also love is working with convenience stores. You've changed it a little bit. Now, for us, it's the healthy choice, the convenient choice. And I think that when you talk to our members, they get that we can do this. And each of the last 2 years at our big trade show, we get 25,000 people at this show. We've had the CEO of Partnership for Healthy America on stage recognizing new NACS members who have signed commitments with the partnership. And even during that conversation, I'm getting texts from companies saying, I want in. And right now, I believe there are 5 convenience stores that are officially partners.
That's correct.
The Marine Corps has also committed to try to implement as best as they can things related to the partnership, but because they're a government entity, they can't sign an official partnership. Right. Talk about what these partnerships look like. What does the first company to do this was Quick Trip. And because we're on the air, it's difficult to spell Quick Trip, but there are several Quick Trips in our industry. They're all misspelled. This one we're talking about begins with a K, Kwik. Trip is actually spelled like trip. And they're out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, and they do an amazing job of, in particular, selling bananas. But they're doing much more than that. Let's talk a little bit about what Quick Trip has done.
Sure. And for the most part, all of our convenience store partners, all 5 of those chains, have committed to the same framework. So in general, all of them have increased their offerings of healthier items, including fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, low-fat and non-fat dairy, and even packaged snack foods, offering more of the nuts or trail mix granola bars, healthier packaged foods that are often seen in convenience stores, and making sure there's that healthier offering, that balance, and that product mix. In addition, they've also committed to marketing and promoting those healthier products. You got to move that product off the shelf. And so in addition to making sure that product is available to the customer walking in, they're also making sure that those healthier offerings are shown at the pump in promotions or inside the store on their website, et cetera, just throughout their footprint to drive customers to make that healthier choice. A number of the convenience stores are doing additional items that will affect either the community or their employee base. Quick Trip, to give an example, gives their employees a free piece of fruit every day during their work shift, which is a nice perk and another way that demonstrates their commitment to this broader effort.
And one of the other things is you also recognize these companies. You put some of the muscle that the Partnership for Healthy America has in terms of branding and communications and very high visibility, and you help people that help you. So you raise their awareness in the community, and it's not just with convenience stores. It's with other retail channels, if it's a grocery store. And when you talk to those who have signed commitments, how do you also say, look, we have your back here?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we really aim to do is lift up those companies that are going above and beyond, making this commitment to help the greater effort. We recognized early on, it's why this is our mission as an organization, that we need everyone at the table to really make a dent in this issue. It's a multifaceted issue, childhood obesity. And we believe that, all of these industries have a significant role to play, and that includes the convenience store industry. So absolutely, we really partner, we take that term seriously with our partners and lift up across the media. We broadcast it to anyone who will listen, the successes that they're seeing, the commitment that they've made, and these positive changes that are really impacting the food environment.
So, Amaris, I was thinking, when I think of, or many customers think of convenience stores, they think of Twinkies.
Yep.
Or they think of things that are not as healthy for you. So was this sort of a dangerous spot or something risky for you to go into and make a partnership with a convenience store chain?
We're not afraid of going into that risky space. And like I mentioned at the top of this podcast, the convenience sector is so critical just because of the number, the exposure, the number of Americans that walk in. So that's exactly where we wanted to be. We knew that the impact could be great. And so acknowledging that this is a different type of retail space. Right. We have some other, supermarket retail partners, and this is very different. And we knew that going into this. We are not about eliminating all the unhealthy options. We want to make sure healthy options are available. So if someone did walk into the store, they have a choice between a Twinkie and a higher fiber or whole grain granola bar, and hopefully with the promotion in the store and just they're able to make a better choice. They have that option there.
And is it more of a psychological change for customers as well? Because if you go in somewhere where there's a healthy offering, does it sort of change the perception of the store itself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, Jeff recognizes that fully, and that's one of the aims of the Refresh Initiative, which is great. And I think we also recognize, there are consumers out there that are already seeking out these healthier options.
Exactly.
And it's in the best interest of those convenience stores to really appeal to those, that customer base by offering those healthier items in the store.
And speaking of Twinkies and some of those other tasty items, that's the other thing that it's great about working with a Partnership Healthy America. It's okay to sell both things. But it's important to recognize that there is a change afoot and there is a customer base that's looking for different items. Homer Simpson, when he goes into Quickie Mart, he buys one of these things, and he goes, "Oh, the donut oozes out a purple filling," and he says, "Oh, purple's a fruit." You're not necessarily saying purple's a fruit, but
no,
you
to
are
be clear.
saying that it's okay to sell donuts and with some fruits, and in that, in particular, convenience stores, as we look at working with different groups to figure out how we can continue to evolve and sell what people want, we commissioned a study with the Hudson Institute, and in particular, they said that we are missing a big opportunity, that people don't know we sell fresh items, and in particular, women. Women will come to the gas pump, they will fill up their car, and they won't go inside the store because they don't know some of the items that we have there, or they don't know that they are going to be there every time. So as a man, I'm intellectually hearing that over and over again, but I'm sure that you also, when you go to convenience stores, you look at them a little differently and say, oh, they are evolving.
Absolutely. And this is not a change that's going to happen overnight. I mean, how long have you been working with the convenience store industry? It's something, we have to take baby steps. And I think this is the first step, offering these healthier items and just mixing up that product mix a bit. But also to speak to that demand piece at the partnership, in addition to working with a number of different industries, we work with retailers, like I mentioned. We work with consumer packaged good companies like Birdseye, Del Monte, Dannon to actually reformulate their products that are already on the shelves, make them healthier. And that is great work. But what we realized also is, in addition to making those offerings available, we also wanted to work on the demand side. And that's why out of the partnership, we actually manage 2 different marketing initiatives. One is called FNV, and you can look that up on the web. It's a phenomenal marketing campaign, which stands for Fruits and Veggies. And the whole aim of the campaign is to get folks to eat more fruits and veggies while simultaneously increasing sales of fruits and veggies. This is not your grandma's public health campaign. We leverage some serious celebrity power, Jessica Alba, Cam Newton, to really engage primarily millennials and reintroduce them to fruits and veggies in a really fun, bold, sassy way. And it's been really successful, and we're excited about how our partners have activated that. Similarly, we also have a Drink Up campaign whose whole aim is to get more folks to drink more water more often, whether it's tapped, bottled, or filtered. And that has also really been successful, billions of impressions. And also for the convenience store, which sells 50% of all single-serve bottled water, that's huge, to get more convenience stores to sell more bottled water. We were really excited last spring with Nielsen data showing that there was a 5% lift in the sale of filtered water and bottled water sales among, those exposed to the campaign, which is really great. So those kinds of efforts to help increase the demand of those products really couples nicely with the availability of those healthier products in the marketplace.
Well, we haven't released some of this data yet, but Donovan with the Fuels Institute and NACS, we put out these monthly consumer surveys looking at what do people buy, what are they thinking about with gas. And in the latest survey that has yet to be released, here's a teaser, bottled water sales up again. When we asked people in the last 30 days, when you went inside the store, what'd you buy? It was pretty significant. And some of that is, I'm sure, because of the work the partnership has done in promoting drink more water.
And I mean, as a consumer, I know you all have seen these changes in the, marketplace itself, but we have moved beyond just plain bottled water too. There are so many other sparkling, fruit infused, flavored, calorie-free flavored type waters available. And so there are a lot more options out there, and that appeals to a lot of customers.
And you mentioned that FNV, fruits and veggies. I'm creeping up on 40. I have a little brother who was surprised, who's in his mid-20s, and it's different than when I was in my mid-20s. When I went to a convenience store, it was to grab something unhealthy. And when I'm with him and we run by a convenience store, millennials love convenience just as much as we do, if not more.
Yep.
But yet he's grabbing something different. He is grabbing water. He is grabbing a piece of fruit. So it's helped change my perception. And you mentioned how successful this has been. Can you speak to that more in terms of, from the convenience market, with his partnerships, how successful has this really been? How have you seen this change?
Sure. So we, like I noted earlier, we have 5 convenience store partners, Quick Trip being the first. And we've been working with them for a couple of years. You know, we noted just briefly how they're a huge banana seller. Do you remember the numbers on that?
400 pounds of bananas per store per day.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think that equates to a banana sold every 100 seconds around the clock.
Wow. Okay.
Very impressive.
Per store.
And this is a convenience store in the Midwest. In addition to that, they, you know, throughout their commitment have seen since last year an increase of 5% in their produce sales, bulk produce sales, which has been phenomenal. So I think for a convenience store to be seeing that kind of movement on that produce is phenomenal. And we want to see more and more of that.
I went to the Philadelphia, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called.
The big Food Trust meeting?
Yes, the Food Trust meeting. They took us on a tour where we saw where they have banana ripening rooms in this giant facility. In Philadelphia, the fruits area is one of I'm drawing a blank on the official name, is one of the biggest in the country. And they have 6 banana ripening rooms. It's amazing to see. And I was there with somebody from Quick Trip, and I said, I know this. I said, you have 7 of those, don't you? And he goes, yeah, I don't want to brag. But yeah, they had more than the
humble.
city of Philadelphia has for what it's doing with selling produce. One of the other things that's very interesting about the partnership is we are talking about food. We're talking about people who sell food, who make food. But the Partnership for Healthy America works with other companies. You work with car manufacturers. You work with apartment complexes. So there's a bigger role that people can play in terms of addressing childhood obesity that goes beyond the food. So like I said, the apartment complexes and the car manufacturers, very interesting in where you're taking this program.
Yes, exactly. Everyone has a role to play. You know, every one of us is affected by obesity, which leads to a number of different health concerns. So everyone can play a role. The car manufacturer, you know, you noted, we partnered with Mercedes-Benz, who invested $10.5 million into physical activity and coaching, programming, and opportunities in the country, which is significant. And on the affordable housing side, we've worked with developers to incorporate active design principles into physical housing units. And active design principles are things like well-lit, music-filled staircases to, you know, encourage people to take the stairs, and strategically placed windows facing the outdoors so people are, you know, incentivized to go outside and things like this, which can really make an impact on how much people move because it's embedded just in their environment.
So pretty much anybody that's a business that wants to be in the business of solving childhood obesity, you'll say, hey, let's have a conversation. I think there's a role to play. And you don't have to be a convenience store that sells 400 pounds of bananas per store per day. Another example of a convenience store that joined the partnership is a company called UGas. UGas on its surface doesn't scream, I want to eat healthy food. And it's, as everything in the convenience store industry, misspelled. It's U-GAS. However, they have an amazing kitchen program that delivers fresh food out to all these stores in the the greater St. Louis area. Phenomenal program. And they are fully invested. And I think they have maybe 20 stores or so. So Partnership for Healthy America will work with companies that aren't Fortune 500 or on the top of any list in a industry. So whether you are a convenience store, whether you're packaged goods, whether you're just a business that really cares about what the partnership does, give them a call.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be something that you might be able to work on them with.
Yep, absolutely. And, like I mentioned, we really work hard to lift up, the work that our partners are doing. And it is, we recognize these partners as leaders in their industries. So I will note also, for every 10 companies we speak to, we come out with one partnership, because it is a rigorous process. We really push these companies to move the needle and make impactful, significant change that affects their business. And we don't take that lightly. But absolutely, we are, excited to continue working with more and more industries. And I think going back to the food piece really quick, we shouldn't discount how important food service is to the convenience store sector. I mean, just as much as fuel for your car, the fuel for your body that's sold inside the store, that's really a key area for the convenience store sector, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. And Donovan and I were looking at the F&V website before you came here, and we were looking at this. You brought it up. How can we get Jessica Alba coming to more convenience stores?
If only.
Cam Newton, we'd love that also, but I would assume that if you
Is
have
that a
these,
personal request, Jeff?
No comment.
if you have some of these pitch meetings and it's like, okay, I think we're at the final stages, Jessica, why don't you? I think
Closer.
Yes.
No comment either.
Now, Donovan and I were also talking about some of the words that are evolving within the nutrition community. You're a registered dietitian, or you have a background in that, and that's your passion. We were talking about an article that we saw the other day saying that there really is no such thing as healthy foods. And I think that's one of those things, get you to click on it to see what the real story is. And what it said is, food isn't healthy, food is nutritious. And if you eat nutritious food, you are healthy. So are there things like that within the nutrition community that are really things that people should focus on? What terms, what things should people look at for food?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I mean, there will always be fads and trends, they come and go. We have a number of pillars that we can really rest on as far as when we think about what should I really be eating. The Dietary Guidelines for Americans just came out earlier this month. Their recommendations put forth by a scientific committee that outlines really how we should eat. And while those do undergo some changes every 5 years, at its core, really, it boils down to making half your plate fruits and veggies. When you're eating grains, make them whole grain. Stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water throughout the day. And eat breakfast. Mm-hmm. It helps regulate your metabolism when you eat regularly throughout the day in appropriate portions. These are really basic nutrition principles. They may not be sexy, but they are solid. You mentioned to me also offline, fiber might be the next best thing, the next new hot thing. There's nothing new about fiber, but when you look at just those recommendations, those tips that I just listed out, fiber is definitely a key part of all of that. It's nothing trendy, but definitely, the core principles there.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned breakfast, because I had mentioned the Hudson Institute study that we commissioned. That one of the other, they had three things that they believed in, and one of them was we need to do a better job in communicating we sell healthy. But the one that I really latched onto is they say convenience stores have a real opportunity with breakfast. You mentioned healthy people should have breakfast, and there are plenty of options. And in convenience stores, there may be more convenient options for breakfast than anywhere else.
Sure.
It can be a boiled egg. It can be the
yogurt
oatmeal.
Parfait, granola bar. Absolutely.
Yeah, you go in and you see that fresh case that a lot of stores have now, that open air cooler. There's no doors. It's right there in front. You look at the items sold there. They are the wheelhouse of where I think the the healthier movement is going, you can pick an awful lot of items there very fast for breakfast, and you can be on your way, and it does a lot of good things out of that open air cooler.
I couldn't agree more.
You say trending, and that's a question I have because being at NACS, I've always gone to the NACS show. Every October, every fall, we have that event, and you're having possibly 20, 25,000 people that attend this show. Yet on the exhibit side, or the suppliers who are actually there that want to be a part of it, they've added a section where it's only new companies, first-timers coming to the show to give them an opportunity to be at the show. And a lot of those companies are trending towards healthy foods, healthy items. Is this a trend that we're going to see continuing? Is this something you're seeing even from the population, what consumers want in terms of healthy options?
Yes. In a word, yes. And I was at the NACS show this past fall as well. And I was really excited as a dietitian to see all those new companies coming in. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen that in past shows, these new exhibitors coming in and having a presence on the floor. I think it's really shaking things up, and I think it's phenomenal. And even some of the exhibitors we spoke with for, that were selling those better for you items made note of that. They were saying we should have our own section of these better for you products.
And we'll wrap up in talking about some of the foods. And I heard the same thing. There in that new product area, there was one company in particular came up to me and said, I said, how's the show? As staff people, you try to walk the show floor, and I'm sure we'll talk about the partnerships meeting. But you try to walk the show floor, make sure everybody's happy. If they're not happy, you want to find out why so you can address it. And I talked to a couple people who were selling healthier packaged items, and they said, this is a better show than fill-in-the-blank healthy show. And we've only been here one day, so can we sign up already for next year? The point being that when we often think about healthy, we think about fresh. We think about perishable. But healthy doesn't always have to be fresh. It can be packaged items as long as there's not added sugars, added sodium, things like that. So there's a real role to sell a lot of healthy items that can last a couple weeks, and you don't have to worry about refreshing because they have a limited shelf life.
Sure. And I'll say, too, there's not a universal definition for healthy. So I think also someone walking onto that expo floor, it's pretty overwhelming. And what Partnership for Healthier America does, and what I do on our team, is help convenience stores navigate that space because it can be tough figuring out amongst this product mix what really is nourishing and helpful for the body and what might be disguised as such.
Well, we have our trade show in the fall. You have your trade show in the spring. What do you see at your trade show, and can anybody go?
Yes, anybody can come. We are really excited, kind of in the throes of planning right now and buttoning up sessions and speakers. But we like to think of the show as a key convening of the major stakeholders, key opinion leaders invested in this health and wellness sector. So we bring together about 1,000 folks. We have a intimate expo floor where companies come out to showcase their offerings. And we have a number of relevant, timely sessions that really touch on the latest issues affecting this effort.
I've been at the show the last couple of years, and I will say I have learned an immense amount. And like any trade show, I also made some great connections. And for anybody who's never been at the show, you'll recognize some of those people on the main stage. If you don't recognize them, you haven't been paying attention. And that shows the high level of interest around the country that people have in changing the conversation. And I think convenience stores can and have been playing a pretty big role in that. And we really look forward to what we can do in the months and years ahead working with the partnership.
Absolutely. And two relevant sessions that we'll be having include a session on impulse buying and how to have encourage customers to make healthier impulse purchases. And one is on the mobility of grocery retail, which also can be relevant to convenience stores.
Yeah, the average convenience shopping experience from the time you leave your car, if you have a car, till the time you're back in your car is 3 minutes and 33 seconds. That includes the time to walk, to think about what you're doing, to make a purchase, and get back in your car. And impulse is critical because convenience stores, 84% of the items they sell are consumed within the hour. So a session that focuses on impulse, I'll be there, trust me. and we'll be talking again. Any last thoughts in terms of what people might want to know about the work of the partnership in terms of whether it's new commitments or if it's new research or new initiatives that will push you the next few years?
We're going to continue building out the work that we've started. One of the most common questions we get is what happens to the partnership after the administration changes. We will still be here. We will still be doing this work. The First Lady Michelle Obama, who is our honorary chair, will still be invested in this effort and working with us, and we look forward to that. So we have no intentions of slowing down.
Very good.
Yeah, well, we will bring every week, we'll have different podcasts talking about things of importance to our industry and to you. So if you have an idea, please suggest it. We'll either get it on the air or we'll get you on the air. The focus clearly will be on things that we sell in our channel. That's a lot of food and a lot of fuel. And we also want to give you both food for thought and fuel for thought because that's part of what this podcast is all about. So, Amaris, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
And, of course, Nex, if you go to nexonline.com, you can see more about what we have, where you can find our podcasts, and we'll make it as convenient as we can because, as we know, convenience matters.
You've been listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. For more information about the National Association of Convenience Stores, go to nacsonline.com.